What's up, folks? Tim Anderson here, aka Renville, back with some more Fantasy Grounds fun for you here on YouTube. Doing another tutorial, and today we're going to be diving into character creation for 5th edition, which it doesn't matter if you're using Dungeons and Dragons or if you're using Homebrew 5th edition, it's the same system. Once you've uploaded the 5th edition rules and gotten all your modules and everything loaded up into Fantasy Grounds, the character creation process is fairly straightforward. Now, there are a couple of different ways to do it. I'm going to show you the way that I think is the easiest, but we'll talk about both ways as you go through. So without further ado, we're going to go in here to characters. We're actually going to choose one of two options here. You can choose the character wizard, which is what we're going to be working through today, or you can choose to create a character from scratch by bringing up a character sheet and doing it this way. Now, doing it this way is something I would only recommend if you are someone who is intimately familiar with 5th edition and all of the unique feats and rules and class and race pros and cons and everything else, because you're going to have to do a lot of manual input if you go through this version, which is the manual version, which is by clicking this plus sign down at the bottom where it says add item, and then it brings up a character sheet. The character wizard is something that I find to be a far more useful way to create a character because it's got a lot of options here to choose from when you're creating something from the get-go. So right off the bat, you would say, what do I want my race to be? You could filter the source here. We could just say we want it to be either, if you're doing homebrew, you might say 5th edition SRD data and only go from there. But if you've got, say, your Dungeon Master's Guide, you might go from there. Your Player's Handbook. So let's just say we have the D&D Player's Handbook. This is what we would have based off of that book and choosing from there accordingly. So let's just say we want to pick a human. And so we'll click on the human right here. That will be our initial race. It's going to ask us to choose our ability score increase. And we can have each of these increase by 1. Going from there, we could choose our age if we want there to be an age. We can choose our languages. We can read, write common, and one extra language of our choice. Humans typically learn the language of other peoples they deal with, including obscure dialects. They are fond of sprinkling their speech with words borrowed from other tongues. So a language would be, my optional might be, let's say I speak Elvish. And we would choose that. Size and everything else is already going to be there. My speed is already built in. So once you've finished the recommended items on the race tab, it will then give you a check mark. And the ones that have the red exclamation points are the ones that still need to be filled out. So going from there, we would click on the class. And we would again filter the source. We're going to use the D&D Player's Handbook in this case. And that's going to give us these classes here. So we would pick one. I'm just going to say I want to pick, let's say for the sake of this, we're going to click fighter, right? So we're going to click the plus sign. We're going to add that fighter to this. Now there's a few things that I need to do here. First and foremost, we automatically get a fighting style, and this will be things that we need to adopt. Now, these are the things where there might be a little bit of manual manipulation still required on the part of the character sheet. And in the case of something like, for example, the archer, if you were to choose archery as your specialty, your fighting style, where you gain a +2 bonus to attack rolls you make with ranged weapons, there's a variety of ways you can set that up as a built-in macro or a mod so that you're always getting that bonus when you're rolling. We could talk about that in a different video, but these are little things that you'll still need to manually manipulate because it's adopting a particular style. But in this case, it wants us to choose a proficiency and a couple of proficiencies here. So for example, what are my skills? Right now I have all weapons, all simple weapons, all martial weapons, all armor, shields, and my saving throws versus strength and constitution. Those are my initial proficiencies. But here I need to choose a couple of skills. So we might choose something like, I don't know, athletics, for example, and the intimidation because those are a couple that I know work pretty good. And once again, once you've finished that, you've then wrapped up the class tab. You can move to the abilities tab. Now here you used to be able to, there used to be a drop down. There still is a drop down, but it's not clearly marked here. But you have 3 different methods of choosing to roll your ability scores. You can either do a dice roll, manual entry, you could do a point buy, or standard array. Right now it's just got our stats across the board because our base stats are 10, and then we get the racial bonus of +1 to everything because we're human. So we would maybe do something like dice roll, and we would just click that button, and boom, it automatically gives us those stats based on the dice roll. Now, I could then choose to, if I wanted to go in and manipulate these around, you can move these at your will later on. But we could also go into the points buy as an example, and we could then, buy our points from here. We could go into the standard array and do it this way. But let's go back to the dice roll. Okay, something like that. And then once we have these, assuming that's the roles that we like, we can then drag and drop these around on this base tab here. And then that'll assign these up top. So we're going to say we want, base strength of 16, constitution 15, dex 15. So that gives us, a total of 16, 16, 16, 15, 15, 13. Not bad for a basic human fighter. Then we go into the background, and again, we're going to do a filter. We're going to filter it down to the D&D Player's Handbook because that's what we want the players to have access to, the base player handbook. And from here, we need to pick a background. If you've never done these before, you can always look up backgrounds in the bottom left. As an example, you can look through all of these. I've got a ton of modules loaded. I probably need to unload all these things, but it is what it is. I'm going to say because he's a fighter, I just want to give him something simple. So maybe we say soldier. That's a good background. Now, once I've chosen the soldier as the background, I need to choose the skill and the proficiency. It's already given him a military rank. And then we need to choose proficiency. And it says select a tool proficiency. This is just, maybe a dice set would be fine. And we get a couple of skills already, athletics and intimidation. So we might choose, acrobatics and, oh, I don't know, investigation. It doesn't really matter. Once you've selected, you get the check mark up top, go into the equipment category. Now here you can select a starting kit, and this is when you get to choose some of your information here. So background kit, let's say I want a dice set, which I already chose, but doesn't really matter. I want chainmail. I want hold up here. One of these needs to be a shield. I'm not seeing a shield across these options at the moment. Oh, there's page 1 of 5. That's why. I'm looking for a shield. Shield, shield, shield. So I'm going to pick shield for 1. I'm going to pick a long sword for the other one. A light crossbow and a Dungeoneer's pack. Once I've selected all of those, I've got a green check marker in the equipment, and then I can go over to the commit, and it'll show me what I've got so far. I've got a human soldier. Speed is 30 feet. Fighting style, second wind. Those are my proficiencies in athletics, intimidation. You got martial weapons. Got a couple of dice set, all these other things. If I'm happy with all of this, I click save. And I now have this generic fighter. And if we go down here and find him in the window here, it'll pop this up. Now we're not finished yet because it then has populated this character sheet for us. Now there's still more information that we could do here, but you'll notice that right away we go to the inventory. It's already got all the things from our Dungeoneer's pack and everything, all of our crossbows, a longsword, shield. These are all things that are equipped on our character. So they're already there. You'll notice that our armor class is 18. Because of that, here's our initiative, our speed, all of our saves are laid out, etc. Now from here, though, we would still need to give him a name. So we would say fighter, like so, and then we would need to select a portrait, which we might do. What's Fantasy Grounds? Fantasy. There we go. Took a minute. Human. None of these are human. That's not bad. Let's keep going. Dun, 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 dun. What do we want him to look like? Does it really matter? We haven't really chosen. I don't mind this right here. That's not too bad. We also need a token though, and tokens are going to be found over in the images. We're going to go down into the assets. Sorry, assets are where the tokens are at. So we'd go into say the 5th edition. Um, so here's some general character ones we can just pick from. We have dwarven male, elf, gnome, gnome. I want like a human male fighter of some type. We can just choose this one and we'll click that up over here to the token. And that's what we see on the screen. So right away we have a basic fighter level 1. Everything's set up for this character. We're good to go at this point. So that's essentially in a nutshell how you do a very quick and easy creation of a character in Fantasy Grounds using the Character Wizard for 5th edition. If you found this helpful, like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update as I do more Fantasy Grounds tutorials here on YouTube. And of course, don't forget to support if you can. There's memberships here on YouTube, 3 different tiers starting at $3 a month. You can do super chats and stickers on live streams and premieres. Super thanks on the uploaded videos. Programmed amounts are already in there. YouTube lets you just click a button and go, or you can pick your own amounts, whatever you want to contribute. You can also go over to our Patreon page, get a copy of our tabletop sourcebook, all the maps we make in Incarnate, the fantasy book series we've got going on, and everything else. Until next time, stay safe, happy gaming. Hope you have fun in Fantasy Grounds, everybody. Cheers.